Happy Monday, everyone. Okay, if you're watching this video either on Instagram TV or on YouTube or live, go ahead and say, hi, I'm here. So I know that this is working because I'm not in my typical workspace. Okay, so I wanted to talk just a little bit about compromises. So let me know if you have tried using a compromise with your child, but maybe it hasn't gone quite like the books or the conferences said it was going to. Compromises are a really big part of parenting. I'm a huge fan. In some cases, they're a big part of TBRI, or trust-based relational intervention, and the trust-based parenting, things that you've read about in The Connected Child and The Connected Parent. But sometimes they are not what our kids need. So if you have tried using a compromise before and it just seems to like spiral into your kid always getting their way, or it doesn't work, you feel like it doesn't work, or you feel like your kid's just walking all over you all of the time, then this video is for you. So if we haven't met yet, my name is Melissa Corkum. I am the creator of the Real Life Behavior Plan System. I'm a post-adoption support specialist, and I love bringing you brain-based solutions to challenging behaviors so that you can laugh more and yell less. If you are not catching this in our Facebook group, then I invite you to join us. You can find the group at thecorkboardonline.com/Facebook. We're a group just all about supporting you as parents of children who have really challenging behaviors. So, okay, the compromise. Here is why it might not be working for your child. So our kids, Dr. Purvis has said this, that our kids need what we call high nurture and high structure parenting. And oftentimes we naturally do one or the other. Or maybe you're like me and you're naturally a high structure parent, and then you read something like The Connected Parent or The Connected Child and you realized that you needed to add a heck of a lot more nurture to your parenting. And so then you kind of swung in the other direction and started making a lot of compromises and giving your child a lot of voice. But then, like I mentioned earlier, it might have felt like they were running the show. And so what we want with trust-based parenting is we want our kids to know that we are running the show, but that we'll also do it with grace and nurture and compassion and empathy. So sometimes what happens with a compromise is we offer a compromise in situations where maybe we don't have a compromise to give, right? Maybe it's time to go to school and you need to get to work, right? We might not be able to offer a compromise in that situation. Like, you might not have room to let your child stay at home for half a day or play with another toy 5 more minutes before you walk out the door. And you also might have a child who really struggles with dysregulation. It's such a deep part of their brain, right? That they'll get a compromise from you, and then at the end of that compromise, they want another compromise, right? 5 more minutes is never quite enough. And so then what do you do? Like, I often will have parents say, what do you do if your kid always wants another compromise and another compromise and another compromise? Then what, right? So that means that you might be using a little too much nurture and not enough structure. And so the trouble with that is when we constantly chase a compromise is that, and sometimes we chase a compromise when our kids are losing their minds, right? We're thinking, what do we do? What do we do? We need to stop. And we think, oh, Dr. Purvis or, some parenting expert told me that compromises work, right? And so we start to offer a compromise, and then we get in that compromise loop where you need another compromise and another compromise and another compromise, right? Am I the only parent that's happened to? So hopefully not. Hopefully you guys can relate to that as well. So then what that means is for our kids, when they see us constantly reaching for a compromise, is that then it feels like their behavior, their big feelings are driving the bus, right? That we are jumping at a compromise because we need them to regulate, or we're trying to use a compromise to get them to regulate. And oftentimes when we have so much nurture and not enough structure, even though our kids are not going to kind of come out and be like, Mom, will you please provide me more structure? Will you please, put your foot down more? They need that kind of structure from us, that kind of, I'm still the parent, I'm still in control, to feel safe. Because otherwise, they realize that their big feelings, their big dysregulation is causing you to kind of jump all over the place and try to meet their needs at their beck and call. And that doesn't feel safe to them either. So, the other part about offering a compromise, have you ever offered a compromise to a child who's losing their ever-loving mind, and they want choice C, or they can't answer you, or it doesn't calm them down, they just keep screaming, right? Sometimes when our kids are really dysregulated, actually all the time, when our kids are really dysregulated, they're way down here in the basement part of their brain, and there's no language in that part of the brain. And if you think about making a compromise, that's more of an upstairs brain activity that takes language and thinking and decision making and some executive functioning that happens up here in this part of the top of the brain. So if your child's behavior is really out of control and really seems to be regulated or being driven by this downstairs fight, flight, or freeze part of the brain, then compromise is not where you want to start with your child, right? You want to get them a little bit more regulated first before you offer the compromise. But guys, sometimes you don't have the space or the time or the patience to offer a compromise. And that's okay, because sometimes your kids don't need a compromise. They need you to stay empathetic. They need you to stay in control. They need you to validate that sometimes it's really hard to have to do what mom or dad tell you to do, but that's still the way it's going to be. You still have to get in the car and go to school. You still have to get out of bed and get dressed to go to school. You still have to, take your medicine or whatever the thing is. Now, I will tell you, you want to pick and choose those hills to die on, but some of them are worth dying on. So if you feel like you're like, Melissa, I don't know, I was using the compromise, I thought I was using it right, or I was trying TRI and I thought I was doing it right, or my kid's always in their downstairs brain, what do I do with that? I do have a couple spots left in the June group of the Regulation Rescue Family Edition. So if you feel like you need a more stable foundation to build your family on, you need more patience for all the crazy, and your child also needs to spend a little bit more time where they can make the compromise and they're not in their downstairs brain all of the time, then I would invite you to join us. So you can find out more at thecorkboardonline.com/rescue, or if you're watching this on Instagram TV, where I can't leave you a really good clickable link, go ahead and comment rescue us. You can comment that below this video, even if you're watching it here on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're watching it, and I will message you a link where you can find out a little bit more information. Again, just a couple more spots left. This is a small group that I take through every month, the Regulation Rescue Family Edition. If you feel like you're stuck with your kid and their behavior, or you're losing your mind all the time and you want more regulation for everyone in the family, the Regulation Rescue is for you. All right, until next time, I'll see you later. Bye for now.